Mr. Reese, would you lead us in prayer now?
Let's bow. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the beautiful day which you blessed us with. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for all the blessings which you bestow upon us. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for this opportunity we have to come together as men of the community, dear Heavenly Father, men of the county, to make decisions, dear Heavenly Father, to better our county, dear Heavenly Father, to make improvements, dear Heavenly Father. We just pray that you'll bless us, dear Heavenly Father, and everything we do will be according to thy will. And pray, dear Father, we can make our county more prosperous, a better place, dear Heavenly Father, in which to live. And we'll pray, dear Heavenly Father, for those of our community that may be sick this evening, that you'll be with them and comfort them as only you know how. We ask you, Heavenly Father, to be with each and every one of us as we make our decisions tonight. We pray, dear Heavenly Father, that you'll just watch over and care for us all the time. Pray, dear Father, that you'll forgive us whenever we fail you. For your triumphant full name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May be seated. All right, Ms. Stacy, we'll start with the roll call.
Shannon Green, Glenn Reese,
Here.
Terry Gibbons,
Here.
Billy Bass,
Here.
Greta Kirby,
Here.
Jason Stewart,
Here.
Jimmy Winfrey, Daniel Cripps, Don Pascal,
Here.
Shannon Mitchie, Erica Evil,
Here.
Ron Shoemake,
Here.
Ron Cowan,
Here.
Linda Nixon,
Here.
Eddie Stout,
Here.
Roger Dew, Charles Kent,
Here.
Bill Reese,
Here.
Tommy Vane,
Here.
Joey Nixon,
Here.
Dennis Hackett,
Here.
Dustin Delahaye,
Here.
David Gross,
Here.
Frank Woodard,
Here.
We'll move on to the approval of the May 11th meeting, approval of the minutes. Everyone's had a chance to look over those, and if there are any additions, corrections to that. If not, I would take a motion to approve.
Jim, is that the right place where we met at that time? I thought we over here.
That is true, it is at the Ag Center. Copy and paste. Thank you, Mr. Ron. Any other additions or corrections? If not, I would take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Chad, second by David Gross. I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Don't have any announcements tonight unless anybody else does right offhand. Number 7 would be amendments to the agenda, and there is one item we do need to change, and that is item number 1 under presentations. That is our internal control assessment. It needs to be moved to letter C under new business. Item 10, letter C, approvals. If I could get a motion to move that.
So moved.
Motion by Joey. Second by Ron Shoemake. I have a motion and a second to make that amendment to the agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, motion carries. All right, next item was number 8, the county mayor report. Today we had 37 reported cases of COVID-19, 27 recovered, 1 death. So that makes us have 9 active cases in the county right now. So we are still doing a good job of keeping ours down. A lot of you came in and saw the Fair Board just met a minute ago. We are moving forward with the Smith County Fair. It will be held June 29th through July the 4th, so we are one of the only few fairs in the area, so we're expecting a big crowd, and hope y'all can make it out for that. I think it'll be a good showcase for Smith County that night. Other thing, quick update, I don't know, just update you on some of my stuff. I did receive some, you all have been watching the news, you know what's going on with the protest and the rioting and all that. I did have some requests over the past week for people that wanted to protest some things at the major courthouse, and I think they were something about a walk tonight. I don't know if that ever panned out, and they asked about a protest application or a permit. We do not have one of those in Smith County. Your permit is the First Amendment, is the Constitution, First Amendment, where it gives you the right to peaceful assembly, and I stress that to the folks that asked me that it would be peaceful. So just wanted to let you know that if you see that I was getting granted permits, there are no permits or requirements for that. Just that you use your constitutional ability and be peaceful. One thing I want to touch on before we move too far: future meetings. June the 18th, we will be back here for budget and finance. We'll do some end of the year budget amendments, and then we'll be working on the budget. You are all invited to be here that night to talk about the budget. If there's anything you want to bring up that night, I would assume that Budget and Finance will recommend a budget that night for a full commission. All right, and then we will meet again as a full commission on June the 29th back at the courthouse facility, because the fair will be here, and that will be for some end of the year business as far as amendments and such for that. And then the plan is, if the budget comes out of Budget and Finance on the 18th, we will pass a full budget on July the 13th, the next meeting in there. The reason we're having to add that meeting at the end is when we went to monthly meetings, we messed up and didn't move this June meeting to the end of the month and left it the same way it was. So we're going to catch an extra meeting this month for that. I think that's about all I've got on my report this time. The website is still being worked on. Should be hopefully really quick on it. Any questions for me? If not, we'll move on to the financial reports that Daisy has presented to you, and I'll let her talk to that if you have any questions.
Cash flows are updated through May 31st, and your financial reports are through the month of April. Anybody have any questions?
If not, we'll move on to item number 9. That's your committee reports. You'll see that there's some meetings involved for those meetings there. Any questions, or anybody want to talk about those? Nope. All right, we'll move on to item number 10, new business, and that's where we've moved, if you'll see presentations, item D is moved up as approvals. All right, so what you've got for approval is the internal control assessments, and we try to do these yearly. And basically what they've done is they've just updated their controls with the new names that may be new employees on that. And that's about the only control, the only changes to those. Is that your statement, David? That's what I thought. So I would ask for a motion to approve those internal controls. And those are just how we handle inside each individual office, how the money is handled and who handles what and how it's done.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Dennis Hackett,
Okay.
second by Glenn Reese. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next item would be the Smith County Health Department report. You have that in your packet tonight. Is there anyone here? I don't think there's anyone here from the health department tonight to talk about that, but we have it. Item number 3 is the Smith County Coso report. I know Brother Bernie is here and would like to talk to you about that for a minute. Brother Bernie, if you want to come on up.
Howdy. The cost report's before you, I believe, and copied, and Is anybody not familiar with CASA? If you're not, I'll read the opening paragraph. Okay, everybody knows what CASA is. Thank you. The past year, we've grown CASA to 14 CASA trained volunteers, and we now have 10 active, 2 that are on leave, but we've almost doubled the size of CASA over this year due to the funds that were raised last year. And Smith County Council is currently serving 18 children, been removed from their homes, and we work as a team to find a safe, permanent living home for these individuals. My goal by the end of the year is to recruit 6 more volunteers, so if anybody wants to volunteer, I have applications available in the car, like some of you police officers that are being defunded this year. That was a joke. They donate 10 to 12 hours per month on average, and we do interviews, investigations, home visits, court reports, attend family team meetings, and assure the welfare of the child on the case. We've driven over 12,000 miles this year in volunteer work. Over 1,500 case hours have been put in by our CASA team, and 140 hours of continued education. We're currently funded by TCCY, a $22,000 grant. That's Tennessee Commission on Children and Youth, and then a litigation tax from the county, which we thank you for, of $12,000, and then personal donations of $3,800. Again, we thank you for your support, continued support, and do you have any questions for the CASA? Thank you.
Next item is the Smith County Misdemeanor Drug Court Report. Is Jesse here? He is running late, so okay, you better hurry up. So we'll skip that. If Jesse shows up, we'll let him talk about that. Number 5 is the Trustee 2018 Real Estate and Public Utility Tax Code Report. That is on page 134. If there's any questions on that, Ms. Ann is here, I see. If not, we will move on to our letter E, our resolutions. All right, resolution 06-2020-01 is, these are some revenues for insurance recovery for EMA vehicle total where Sunny during the tornado, so they're moving money inside their budget. 54,900 is additional revenue that the 911 ward is paying to their dispatchers. Increase in revenue from a fundraiser at the fitness center is 55,190, and then 56,500 is a tech grant for the library. All these amendments are within their budget and came with a positive recommendation from the Budget and Finance Committee. All right, resolution 06-2020-02 is some budget amendments moved inside some budgets to give some salary, an old one-time salary supplement for the trustee and the sheriff's employees, and an end-of-year amendments within their budget. They're just moving money to give throughout their budget to give one-time supplements to their money. It's a one-time thing, is my understanding. Is that a true statement, Eugene?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That is 06-2020-02. 06-2020 is the capital projects 171 budget amendment, and it was just an adjustment there for the trustees commission on it. 06-2020-04 is the solid waste fund 207, and it is within his budget and fund balance. It's a fund balance decrease for equipment repair, and you'll see, and also a fund balance for some where we pay money into the state on our tonnage. We had increased that this year. All these came with a positive recommendation from the Budget and Finance Committee. I will take a motion to group, or we can pull them out and vote on them separately.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to vote on them separately.
I have a motion to vote on them separate. Second by Joey Nixon. I have a motion and a second to vote on these separately. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll start with resolution 06-2020-01, the general fund 101 budget amendments. Take a motion to approve or disapprove. Motion to approve by Chaz Kent. Second by Frank Woodard. I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 06-2020-01. Any discussion on this amendment? If not, we'll do a roll call, Stacy.
Glenn Reese.
Yes.
Terry Givens.
Yes.
Billy Bass.
Yes.
Greta Kirby.
Yes.
Jason Stewart.
Yes.
Jimmy Winfrey.
Yes.
Daniel Cripps. Dalton Pascal.
Yes.
Shannon Michie.
Yes.
Erica Ebel.
Yes.
Ron Schumate.
Yes.
Ron Cowan.
Yes.
Linda Nixon.
Yes.
Eddie Stout.
Yes.
Charles Kent.
Yes.
Bill Reese.
Yes.
Tommy Bain.
Yes.
Joey Nixon.
Yes.
Dennis Hackett.
Yes.
Justin Delahaye.
Yes.
David Gross.
Yes.
Frank Woodard.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. All right, resolution number 2, resolution 06-2020-02. That is the one that is moving money within the sheriff's budget and the trustees' budget to give one-time salary supplements at the end of this year. This time, we would take a motion to approve or disapprove.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Dennis Hackett, second by Ron Schumate. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I'd like to discuss this one.
Okay.
Sure. Is the sheriff here? Okay. So my questions on this one, I know that this originally came up in the March 12th Budget and Finance meeting where you, I believe Chief Roberts had asked if we could do a bonus if there were additional funds at the end of the year and to one-time supplement out some of the pay. I know at the time it was said, you know, a lot of the other budgets were smaller and tighter and may not have the option to do the same. So I'm looking at, we're looking at about $117,000 that's coming out of different line items. So my question is it just that like there was something this year where you didn't need that money in those line items, or it's a lot of money?
We've had a very good year. And you'll notice on the other line items that it's coming from, we've not had to spend as much money. I think we're ready to spend about 30,000 out of the inmate medical and different things so far that we haven't had to spend.
Okay. The inmate medical, what is that there specifically?
The line item that where we pay medical bills for the inmates, and the doctor's contract.
Okay.
We're gonna have some money left over in that.
Okay. Is that not something that could roll over? I know we had spoken about needing to up the amount of money for that to hire an additional nurse for next year.
They've never let us roll any money over before.
Okay. So it's either you spend it or you don't have it at
either
all?
spend it or you lose it.
Okay.
And we're not, the money that's there, we're not asking for anything above our budget. It's within our budget. Our people have done a hell of a job this year. They've been out there in all this COVID junk. They deserve something. You're not gonna give them a raise. Let's give them something.
Oh, I agree. You know, we need
It's in
to,
my budget, let's give them something.
we need to pay our law enforcement and our EMS and all that bunch. I'm wanting to see, I guess, just how,
And I've told budget and finance and these commissioners ever since I've been in office. If I don't need it, I'm not gonna spend it.
mhm.
And I've turned in hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years. Never been told that I can use it in this manner. This year I've told I can use it. I would give my employees before this, but I haven't. I've been told in the past I couldn't use it. This year I've told I can use it. I'm gonna give this to my employees if y'all will allow me to.
I just wanted to discuss it because it wasn't discussed at the budget and finance meeting, so. I don't don't know if anybody else had anything they wanted to discuss.
I want to say something. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Mr. Higgins?
My concern with that is that we told the citizens of this county that there would not be any raises. If I'm not mistaken, where does this $117,000 go if it doesn't get used?
It would go back to fund balance.
They go back to fund balance.
Yes, sir.
That's my only concern. I went up to bat in my district, I talked to my constituents, and they was okay with property tax, but they did not want any extra spending. And I promised them that in District 1, and I'm not gonna go back on my word on that, until this county gets where it needs to be. And I know this is within the budget, and it's just basically moving money. But from the people I've talked to, I can't, you know, I think all of us as a whole as commissioners last year, we went through a lot of hell. And I just don't wanna make this decision to give out, whether it's salary or bonuses, because we're not back on our feet yet. So, I just want to voice my opinion, at least the ones that's watching online, to my constituents in District 1, that I'm not for this right now. I can't be. Listen, I respect the sheriff, Eugene, everybody that works at the sheriff's department. They work side by side with EMS. I just can't. I just can't right now, just for what I promised my people in my district last year as far as for the property tax. And that's all I've got to say.
Anyone else like to discuss the amendment?
Jerry, I'm gonna say one thing. I'm not gonna, we've allowed other departments to do this, haven't we, Mayor?
Not this, no.
We've allowed them to decrease their employee.
Correct. And they stayed inside their
give
salary.
employees raises that are recurring every year.
But they
Not a
didn't.
one-time thing.
Correct, but their salary line did not increase. They just decreased their amount of people.
Ours is not increasing.
Correct, but what I'm
We're staying within our budget.
I understand.
Okay.
Just to be sure that we understand, that is, it's not apples to apples, because what that department did is they decreased their people. And what you're doing is you're taking money from different, and I'm not trying to argue for or against. You are asking a question, and what you're doing is taking money within your budget and moving it into a salary line. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I want to explain why I'm asking for the 2,000, because if the sheriff, you know, if they're going there, the statements that I'm going to make tonight are the same ones that I made to Budget and Finance. And I've been in office since 1998, and all that time we've been on the first and second deputy pay. I think Billy Bass, he's sitting here, I think it was way back when he was there. So I'm not intending this to be rude to my constituents. I'm merely attempting to bring your attention to some issues that are causing conflict and misunderstandings. And I've got a book here, I'm not going to take time to read it, but the first meeting I went to as trustee stated that you were supposed to have a plan in place to not treat employees differently, especially if you are like in the trustee's office, county court clerk's office. Those are all listed together. So what's happened here is a new precedent has been set. Because when someone had, let's say, 5 employees, they decided to take away 1, and they divided that salary between the 4 that were left. How many jobs do you go to that you get that money? So you see why there's a conflict. To me, the county commission has set a new precedent that says, if you cut back the number of your staff, then you can give a raise. Guess what? Since 1998, I've had 2 people. How am I supposed to give my salary? To give them a raise? I can't do it. I stay within my budget every year, and that's why I have this $4,000 left. So I feel that if a first deputy, which signed a salary agreement, elected official, signed a salary agreement stating that the salary was gonna be this much last year, which was the same as my first deputy, it should have stayed the same. If you're going to change job titles and have people make different salaries, that's another story. But when you're running off a first and second deputy pay scale, Billy, do you remember that scale? That's what we've been doing ever since I've been in office. But for some reason, last year, that changed to where one department got $5,000 increase, the first deputy. So what you got is you have an employee that's sitting in one of the offices that has been there for over 30 years, that's making less than, $5,000 less than people that are walking in the door today, or that have been here a year. So I want you to stop and think about that, because that's the reason that I'm asking for the $2,000 for my employees. I feel like we've always been on the same pay scale. We need to get this thing right. We need to get it even. And you need to take a look at that, because something's wrong with that.
Thank you, Ms. Leanne. Just to be clear, so everybody knows the story, Tommy Turner came, Budget and Finance last year, came to me, Daisy, and said, hey, I've got, he had 5 employees, he lost 2, and wanted to take the remaining salary and split it up between the 3 that were staying and add some overtime money for those. At that point in time, we consulted CTAS, the county attorney, and there was no, if he's within his budget, he can, within that salary budget, he can move that ever how he wants to. Am I correct, Mr. Bell?
We spoke with Ben Rogers from County Technical Assistance Service, and my review of it, that they could do it.
Yeah. So, that's where that came from. And and since he was moving within his salary line item, it never came before Budget Finance as a motion or a movement for them to be made, nor it came to County Commission. He did in turn sign a new salary agreement. So, just want to make sure everybody understands what we're talking about when we say that. That was done in Tommy Turner's office. And just to be brutally honest, we did it too. When I came in, there was 4 maintenance, there was 3 maintenance men, a part-time, 3 cleaning persons. I had a cleaning person leave. We gave those cleaning duties to maintenance and to Jim and Christie as far as the cleaning. They took those duties on and split that money out for that. We didn't take on, but we've not increased the number of people or overtime on that. They picked up the slack that was being done by that person that left. Any other discussion or questions?
Can you state how much cent-wise, as we're talking property tax, are we looking at around that 3.5 cents?
Yes,
Okay.
you would be. 117,000 for them, 4,121, then anytime you add Social Security, Medicare, and all that in there, you're probably gonna be pushing 125, 130, maybe more. And so yes, it's about, and current penny value is 39,213, I think. Is that right, Daisy? Somewhere in there? Somewhere in there close. So yeah, you're right at 3.5 cents. Maybe a little less than that. Any other discussion or questions?
If you take
the amount of employees, I'm assuming the sheriff is wanting that for everybody below him, the chief deputy on down. He's got, what, 62 employees? If you divide that by 117, each employee is gonna get, what, roughly a $2,000 bonus?
That,
Or
we have
pay
not
increase?
seen, we don't, they've not presented a plan as to budget, or council budgets, to what that would look like yet. So, I mean, that'll be
But
something.
I don't have a calculator, but I mean, basic math is, what, was it 112 or 117?
Sheriff, do you
117.
speak to that, and how that would break down?
You got what?
Math is correct, David. It's 117,000 in the pay supplement line item. 63 employees. That's
63
gonna be
employees.
Right around $2,000 per employee.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Butler, anything wrong with what we're doing?
No, I mean, the only issue is a little peculiar with the sheriff's department and certain other departments, the maintenance of every issue, but my understanding, based on what we've talked about, that you would be consenting to doing something different for the purpose of next year, and as Chief Roberts said, it was only a one-time.
One time. It's not recurring.
I think that's a question you put forth in the amendment. Ms. Cliff, I asked
In
if
the
she.
budget meeting, I asked, because I had a booking to leave, so I took my part-time employee and brought my part-time employee up to a full-time employee, which left the part-time pay only. I think that's why a lot of this has come about, because I asked, could I do the same thing that everybody else has done? Didn't feel like I was asking for anything that other people hadn't already got, you know? Of course, Mr. Winfrey spoke up and said, you know, well, it's gotta stop somewhere. But I mean, where do you stop? If I can't get to do what I wanna do with it, then I want my part-time person back in there, or do like the sheriff and take and give them the one-time pay bonus, which wouldn't be much, you know, but still, they deserve something. Because they're not gonna get raised.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I think that's kind of my concern with it is you've got some departments that are running on nothing.
Correct.
Like they are cut to the bone.
Right.
They have no wiggle room. They can't do this. And we have said all around that we are not doing raises this year.
Right.
So that's my concern.
Understood.
Not that people don't deserve it. They
No,
absolutely do.
not. No, Director, Mr. Crockett asked me the same question, and with our revenues being down, how through COVID and all that, we couldn't figure out a way to get it done, so I told him, no, we can't do a one-time deal like that.
But that brings back to my question, Erica, where do you stop? You know, if you've let other departments do it.
Exactly. Well, we have been discussing salary
Right.
studies.
I just want to make sure everybody's clear that what was done at the Tommy Turner's office is not the same as being asked to do tonight. Tommy didn't take anything out of any other lines and move them. And like I said, I'm not trying to be for or against. I just want to make sure everybody understands the difference between the two procedures.
He had an employee that left, right?
Correct.
And
Same
money
as
that
your
they were paying
situation.
for that, Same thing I'm asking to do.
Correct.
Mayor Rice. Like,
Yes, sir.
Tommy Turner and listen, folks, these are very trying and difficult times. We all realize that. We have been over backward, but that's our jobs. We're supposed to do that. That jail is scot-free as of this moment, thank the good Lord. We have strived, we've kept away, but our correction officers have been subjected to everything, and so have our officers on the street, just like EMS has the same business. So difficult times that we're in right now, and we've got employees that bring home like $300 a week. They could stay home if we could lay them off and make $875 a week. We don't want to go out of our budget by one penny. It's not going to cost the taxpayers one extra penny. There's a circle, and you've got X number of dollars. Tommy Turner took what was left in his, whether it be through the wages or paper or copy paper or whatever, but he still operated inside that circle. He never got out of it. We're just asking to do the same thing, just like Leanne is.
What, how many, I know there was a big push to release prisoners. How many prisoners you released since you brought that up? How many, what's our count?
We started out at 140 and we're at 82 this morning.
82, okay.
With the cooperation of the judges
Right.
and
Yeah,
everything that we've done. Of course, we discussed that some, but we've maintained that 50 average with our state inmates. And there's $127,000 that's gonna be on the revenue side. That's plus. We
Right.
maintained that. We got a little low, but we were high on the other times.
Maybe pass that.
Folks, I don't know how much harder the sheriff and I can strive to do our jobs any better, but it's not for us. But our employees, I'm just telling you, one-shot deal, not reoccurring like Tommy's is. EMS, the dispatchers, I think, are going to get an increase. Other departments are going to get an increase. We're not asking for any pay increases, not one penny. 3 years it's going to be without a pay increase because there's not going to be one this year, so this is our second year. It'll be another year before we talk pay increases, is that right?
That's why so many people keep quitting these jobs.
Yeah. So I just ask you from the bottom of my heart, let our people have something.
And
Thank you.
I want to say, they risk their lives every day for this whole county. And they should have a raise, but we don't have the money. That's not their fault. And they ought to be able to do this if everybody, they absolutely deserve it.
Mr. Chair, just want to say one more thing.
Yes, ma'am.
I absolutely get where you guys are coming from because you're looking out for your employees. And of course, they deserve more than what they're getting. EMS deserves more than what they're getting. There's several departments that deserve more than what they're getting. My job is to look out for constituents. And if that money could have gone back into the general fund, 3 cents off the property taxes this year, everybody had a hard year. Businesses were shut down. Businesses were shut down. People didn't get paychecks.
That's exactly right.
So that's my job. That's where I'm coming from on
Why
this.
did you let Tommy Turner's go through? Why
We're talking about-
Why are we being discriminated against?
And I think we've discussed how it is different, but I see it differently. I get where you're coming from, because you
Yes.
are looking out after your employees. I'm telling you, it is not personal. I'm looking out after the constituents on this.
I totally understand, I'm one of them.
Yes,
I'm one of the people that votes for you.
yes,
So you owe me, you're obligated to me too as a taxpayer and
absolutely.
as a constituent.
Yes, I have to think
Yes,
of
ma'am.
everybody as well.
You can't treat Tommy Turner's office one way and treat us another way. I just don't see how you can do that. And you keep saying this is apples and oranges, but it's not. It's money. The people in Tommy Turner's office are making $2 more an hour than they were. Our folks got zilch, not one red penny.
Let me ask you, was that money that Tommy Turner, when he had an employee left, does he usually turn money back into the county?
Tommy Turner?
Yes.
Yes. If he had eliminated 2 employees and had not given his employees pay raises, which is reoccurring year after year, would that money not have gone back in the general fund?
Or he would have had the opportunity to hire 2 more employees, but he made the decision to manage staff with 3.
But if he eliminated those 2 employees and he didn't give his people, and he didn't spend that money, it went back to the general fund.
He was paying employees to cover that job, though,
Correct.
instead of hiring new ones.
I understand.
So I see it differently.
Totally understand. But he's still operating in his budget.
Mhm.
He's still operating in his circle. So are we.
Okay.
Which is exactly what I'm asking for. My part-time person that took the full-time position that opened is gonna be doing the minutes and the full-time position job. Same thing.
But the only difference in your office, Clifford, don't have criminals you're working with that you got, and people dying that have to have people to save their lives and be there when they need them. Your people get to go home every day.
But, and Clifford's not pulling
And
money.
Tommy Turner's people do too.
Yes, they did. I'm not, they did, but
they go home just like my employees go home. They get to take a lunch break, my employees don't even take a lunch break. I couldn't tell you the last time when my employees got to leave to have lunch, we eat at our desk. In a week's time, we had 1,470 motor vehicle only transactions.
Any other discussion?
This is a hard situation, I can see in a way, but it looks like to me that we're opening ourselves up for liability. Because if we give somebody a raise and don't give somebody else a raise, then we're not an equal opportunity employer. And me and Mr. Beller and I have talked about this a few years, or back when he took over as county attorney or whatever, in one of the policy meetings or whatever. Smith County is behind the time on this pay. It should be set on different pay scales. If you hire in as a deputy clerk, whether she goes to work for Leanne, Cliffa, or Jerry Lynn Baden, or whoever, or goes to work, the pay should be the same. After 6 months of employment, you get a step raise. And seniority and stuff, it needs to mean something more than just the longevity. You see what I'm saying? I even brought it to Mr. Beller that if you got a guy that goes to work at the sheriff's department as a road officer, and he's been through 4 years of criminal justice, he ought to have a little bit more pay than somebody else, you know, that's just went through the academy or whatever. See what I'm saying? It needs to be overhauled. The whole system needs to be reworked from the bottom to the top.
Well, what's one thing that's been discussed in budget finance is doing a salary study with job descriptions. Now, that could be good, bad, or ugly. I just want everybody to know that. We could find out that we pay more than other people. We could find out we pay less when you start doing that comparison. I just want everybody to make sure. Budget finance, I did actually go out and get some costs for that. It's going to be about a $10,000, $15,000 cost to get that done. I'm supposed to report back to them on our next one for their discretion as to what to do at that point in time. You know, at that point in time, then we can do that pay study and a comp plan. So, I have talked to some neighboring counties, and they some have comp plans, some do not. And so but to speak to what you just said about paying a man different hours, there's a lot of these are not set up that way. You make what you make when you come in the door, and then they make up for your time as far as longevity. So what they do is they base most of this is based off the job title and job descriptions, and that's how it's paid. That's, you know, if you do X, you make X. If you do, you know, that's what you do. So I mean, that's where we're at with that. We're working on that. And to talk about the first, you know, what's been done in the past, there's no policy in the policy book about pay plans or first and second deputies. I mean, that's just been something that's been understood, but, you know, it's not in the book. It says it has to be, it's not an adopted policy by this body at any point in time. Is that, I mean, I'm correct on that. So.
We had talked about it at one point, but we never acted on it.
Never acted on it.
Now, as I understand it, presentation that Ms. Williams, that CTAS has something along those lines. Is she still here? You had been presented something back, I think, from the late 90s about Deputy 1, Deputy 2 that had been relied upon, that you had gone through, but we never adopted that per se, but that was something.
But I feel like if you go back to the county meetings from years ago, you're gonna find a first and second deputy pay plan. Because I talked to a elected official from years ago that said they remembered when it came into effect. I've been looking, I've not been able to find it yet, but for 30-something years, we've had first and second deputy pay scale, and now we've gone away from that. And what I'm talking about is in the offices that are court, and my office, the register of deeds, assessor of properties, we all stayed on the same first and second salary agreements. And every time we've signed that, it's always been the same. So if there was a salary agreement at some point, I'll keep looking, I'll find it.
Good. Any other discussion or questions? I do have a motion and a second. If there's any other discussion before I close this out and vote? All right. Go to roll
What is
call.
the vote?
Do what?
What is the vote? Yes, no?
It is, yes, approves the budget amendment, no, it does not, yes. And that's why this was pulled out separately, so it doesn't affect the other one-on-one budgets, because this one had it wasn't to call anybody out, it was just to keep it clear on that, so if it did get voted down, it would have to come back to that. Make a motion. Dan Sackett made the motion. Ron Shoemaker made the second. All right, Stacy, roll call.
Glenn Reese,
Mr. Mayor, I'll have to abstain from voting because I work for the sheriff's office, so it'll be a very conflict.
All right, thank you.
Terry Givens,
No.
Billy Bass,
Yes.
Greta Kirby,
Yes.
Jason Stewart,
Abstain.
For the reasons cited before, because you're an employee.
Both employed, sheriff department.
Thank you.
Jimmy Winfrey,
Yes.
Daniel Cripps, Don Pascal,
Yes.
Shannon Minchie,
No.
Erica Ebel,
No.
Ron Schumate,
Yes.
Ron Cowan,
Yes.
Linda Nixon,
Yes.
Eddie Stout,
Yes.
Charles Kent,
Yes.
Bill Reese,
Yes.
Tommy Bain,
No.
Joey Nixon,
No.
Dennis Hackett,
Yes.
Dustin Dillahay,
No.
David Gross,
Yes.
Frank Woodard,
Yes.
Amendment passes 13 yeses, 7 noes, 2 abstain.
Thank y'all.
All right, we'll move on to resolution number 6/2020-03. It is the capital projects budget amendment, and it is just moving money inside capital projects for the trustees' fee. Have a motion to approve. Motion by Chaz. Second by Glenn Reese. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, Stacy.
Glenn Reese,
Yes.
Terry Givens,
Yes.
Billy Bass,
Yes.
Greta Kirby,
Yes.
Jason Stewart,
Yes.
Jimmy Winfrey,
Yes.
Daniel Cripps, Don Pascal,
Yes.
Shannon Minchie,
Yes.
Erica Ebel,
Yes.
Ron Schumate,
Yes.
Ron Cowan,
Yes.
Linda Nixon,
Yes.
Eddie Stout,
Yes.
Charles Kent,
Yes.
Bill Reese,
Yes.
Tommy Bain,
Yes.
Joey Nixon,
Yes.
Dennis Hackett,
Yes.
Dustin Dillahay,
Yes.
David Gross,
Yes.
Frank Woodard,
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. All right, item number 4 is resolution 06/2020-04. It is solid waste fund 207 budget amendments.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Jimmy Winfrey,
Second.
second by Tommy Bain. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, Stacy.
Glenn Reese,
Yes.
Terry Givens,
Yes.
Billy Bass,
Yes.
Greta Kirby,
Yes.
Jason Stewart,
Yes.
Jimmy Winfrey,
Yes.
Daniel Cripps, Dalton Pascal,
Yes.
Shannon Minchie,
Yes.
Erica Ebel,
Yes.
Ron Schumate,
Yes.
Ron Cowan,
Yes.
Linda Nixon,
Yes.
Eddie Stout,
Yes.
Charles Kent,
Yes.
Bill Reese,
Yes.
Tommy Bain,
Yes.
Joey Nixon,
Yes.
Dennis Hackett,
Yes.
Dustin Dillahay,
Yes.
David Gross,
Yes.
Frank Woodard,
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. All right, item number 5 is the resolution 06-2020-05. It is your Smith County road list. We are taking a motion to approve the road list. Steve is here if you have any questions. Do I? So moved. All right. Ben Reese. Second by Judge Stewart. All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that or questions for Steve on your road list?
Was there any added or taken off?
Steve, was there any added or taken off?
Everything has been. The last one would be, keep this from model next model. Other than that, everything's already been approved.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions or discussion?
I'd like to say something. After tonight, if we approve this road list, when people call and ask me if they can have their roads taken off the county, you all give me the permission to give them the answer no. Because we get paid by county road miles and population, is what our revenue is. And if we keep taking road miles off, our revenue's gonna finally go down, just keep going down. So I think after tonight's road list is passed, whether it be me or the road superintendent, taking road miles off the road list is not a good idea. Just for information.
Any other discussion? Do we need to, we don't need to roll call this, do we? All right, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. All right, Jesse is here. All right, Mr. Jesse, come on up. Mr. Jesse Peters will give us a report on this.
Thank you. So I'm Jesse Peters with the Smith County Misdemeanor Recovery Court Program, the coordinator of that program, and I'm going to be pretty quick with my presentation and I'll get out of the way. So the Smith County Misdemeanor Recovery Court Program is a specialized court that uses intensive supervision, treatment services, sanctions, and incentives to address the needs of nonviolent offenders with addiction and/or co-occurring mental health disorders. The goals of the program are to, number one, reduce the use of much-needed jail facility beds by nonviolent, chemically dependent offenders by instead getting them into rehabilitative programs. Number two, to reduce crimes committed as a result of drug use and addiction. Number three, to promote public safety through the reduction of these crimes. Number four, to increase the personal and societal accountability of these offenders. Then number five, and at worst, provide these individuals with tools and resources that they can draw from later if they don't remain a part of our program. The Smith County Misdemeanor Recovery Court Program began in March of 2015 under the direction of General Sessions Judge Michael Collins. Since I have been the coordinator of the program, we have graduated 5 participants, 2 of which have helped us form our new aftercare program. We have 3 more graduates coming up this month, as well as several more later this year. We've helped to reinstate driver's licenses to 10 participants. From July 3rd, 2019 to present, more than $10,000 in Smith County court costs and fines have been paid, not including other states and counties that have been taken care of as well. Over 750 hours of community service have been completed, and more than 3,000 self-help meetings have been attended. One of our most recent graduates, Toby Lane, is now a regional overdose prevention specialist working with the Smith County Drug Prevention Coalition and daily alongside our state lifeliners, navigators, and faith-based community coordinators. He also sits on our recovery court team and is an invaluable asset to the program. In closing, our program accepts high-risk, high-need individuals. These people, simply housed in jail until their eventual release, does nothing to treat the disorder, dysfunction, and traumas that they have incurred in their lives. Without this treatment and accountability, it is just a matter of time before they reoffend to feed this widely misunderstood beast called addiction. We at the Smith County Misdemeanor Recovery Court Program do understand it. And we believe that with the proper guidance and treatment, we can continue to make a difference one human being at a time. On behalf of all of us at the Smith County Misdemeanor Recovery Court Program, we'd like to thank you for your continued support. Thanks.
Thank you, Jesse. Thank you for the work y'all are doing. Thank you. All right. Moving on to letter number F is our list of notaries for tonight. I would take a motion to approve that list.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Dennis Hackett.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gross. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Notaries are. Number 11, other business. Is there any other business that needs to come before the court tonight? We'll just remind you that we will meet back here the 18th of June for budget and finance and to work on the budget, to get it ready for passing in July. And we will meet at the court and the courthouse facilities the 29th for a full commission meeting. All right, Stacy needs 6 commissioners to come sign off on the trustee 2018 real estate and public utility tax roll report. All right. Any other business anybody's got before we call for adjournment? No? Motion to adjourn by Frank Woodard.
Second.
Second. Dennis Hackett, second. All those in favor? Aye. You are adjourned.